method, okay? We're all welcome. For those of us who came in a bit late, there was a prelude to the speakers, and it was all about what do you love about Nigeria? And it dovetailed into what do you love about Delta State, and we all said one or two things which I believe there was learning and lessons from. But I want to say to us from the Bible, it says, pray for the peace of Jerusalem, for therein lies your prosperity. I've seen a number of persons who say, I want to travel out. They don't believe in anything here. And for 1, 2, 3, 4 years, they are still in Nigeria. They have not done anything meaningful. They have also not traveled out. Therein lies a problem. So if you are one of such, I believe this meeting too will be changing our mindset. I heard Mofe speak, and I said that is the Nigerian spirit, the Delta spirit that every one of us needs to be able to bet a change that we all desire. I've been given a brief to speak on how the government can help businesses. I don't know if there's something on the screen. I have retitled, I say, Covenant for Growth, a Blueprint for Governments and Businesses. So that's what I will be speaking on here. While I was talking with our convener, Pastor David Tobore, he said something which was very striking for me. He said his place and his vision is to bet a people who, when they are looking for the most employable people in the land, they should be Salt City people. When they are looking for people who run some of the best businesses in the land, it should be that these are people from Salt City. And I said, yes, this man has a vision. And putting this together also, I think, is to further every one of these things. Thankfully, we have somebody from the government here, and I believe there are equally a number of us. But like he said, it is to stir up a new conversation amongst us, to trigger a mindset that will bring about an ultimate change in how we see governance, how we see citizen participation, and our individual self. So I am saying, dear Governor, as a prelude, there is a statement, it is in the well-being of the people that the prosperity of the elites, the state, lies. Which suggests that for the elite, for the state to achieve prosperity, the overall well-being of the general populace is a necessary condition. Too many persons have made money in many ways. They've built hotels, they've done a number of things. Who will come to those hotels? And unfortunately, some of these persons are people in government. You have not done anything about the well-being of the people, the citizens, and you think they will have friends, they will have businesses that will bring people to that place. So you see such businesses after a while, because there is no good patronage, they have challenge. So while we speak to the government, speak to every one of us that has one venture or the other, let's know that in the prosperity of you and I lies the prosperity of those in government, whoever is an elite, whoever is a privileged person. Because for that business that you have set up, you need every one of us to buy something, right? The Budu market man who is complaining about low margin today, if there was higher turnover, he wouldn't be complaining, right? It is because the purchasing power has reduced. There is not much patronage, and that low margin multiplied by low patronage equals low income. I want to say, in Jeremiah 29:7, he said, but seek the welfare of the city where I have sent you into exile, and pray to the Lord on its behalf, for in its welfare you will find your welfare. I'm not saying this only to the government, I'm saying this to every one of us. You are in church, find a place of value addition, find a place of seeing the welfare of that place. You are seated by somebody, how can I add value to that person? And that leads us to what I've put here now as a shared goal, the shared goal. What's that shared goal? It said the prosperity of the elites, the state, is often tied to or dependent on the community's overall health, peace, and flourishing. I wish the government people get to understand this. The more prosperous a people are, the more prosperous the state is. We all are meant to pay taxes. If my income is on ₦1 million, I will pay tax on ₦1 million. But if I'm a billionaire, The taxes I will pay to the government, the income that every one of us who have whatever privilege to set up any business, there will be more income for everybody. So it is very good that every one of us together prospers. And the government is the one that has the platform to be able to create that enabler for every one of us. However, this will not be achieved by the government alone or by citizens alone, but a strategic commitment by all stakeholders. Quality of citizen engagement matters. This is the word of Chinua Achebe. He said, citizens plus government equals progress. So don't say it is the government. For us who did government, they say democracy is what? For the people, by the people. So you are not out of it. So we must be in position to be able to advise, checkmate, say one or two things, and not just be people who just glory sing and praise sing the people in government. I have a food for thought for the government. Can Delta become Nigeria's most business-friendly, secure, and tourism-ready state? Mofe was saying something. There are cities in this world that are 24 hours. The time I went to Dubai, we didn't have enough time, and we needed to go out at night. And lo and behold, at 1 a.m. at night, we could still get food to eat. The streets were still being driven all over. That's a 24-hour city. So you could have a restaurant that runs for 24 hours. You could wake up at night and say, I want to go and cut my hair. One critical thing that is needed for that to happen, beyond the security, is that can we light up Delta? The little lighting you see on Airport Road and Warri Saple Road alone has done some great good addressing security, like the chairman of Igbudu Market has said. So we want to say to the government, please, those street lights, I don't think it is too much a budget cost. Can you choose location part-time and say, let everywhere be very well lit? Every junction that you see that is well lit, you always see people there even at 12 a.m. in the midnight, even where there is no vehicle. That alone makes a place tourism friendly. Interestingly, I only got to Warri in 2011, thereabout, or 2012. And one thing we saw was that Warri sleeps early, Warri wakes up late. It wasn't like that where I come from. We wake up lazily from the bed and we go to bed early, partly due to insecurity. That must change, and I don't think it is too much for the government to do. Security for the past 2 years since the coming of Governor Sheriff, I believe it has improved, but much has to be done because there are still pockets of kidnappings along the roads and every one of them. The other time I was watching a video of this, I think Harrison Gwamisho or so, they went to somewhere around Agbo. Drones, there's technology already that can nip every one of these things in the bud. And the government could come out and say, for a state, all states in Nigeria, can we say Delta is the most secure state? It is possible. When we have that as a vision, we can achieve it. So gather all your commissioner, the DPOs and every one of them for every crime-free area we have in a month or something. This is something you could get as a reward for that. When there's such a reward for the security agencies, I can tell you, they would go extra. Why? Because at the end of the day, more people will come to Delta States. Your revenue agencies will be able to have more money. The people will be more prosperous. And the more the people are getting engaged, the more you to government, before you know, you have peace around all about. So that's one question for those in government. Another question is, can it lead, can Delta State lead in energy sufficiency and agro-value chains? For every month that I am able to have some level of good electricity supply, it's as though I have been dashed 1 million, 2, 3, or 4. I can tell you that. That I had power supply from BEDC alone, it's like somebody dashed me money. And there are businesses, there are tailors who have failed to meet up their commitment. There are all manner of artisans that have failed because there's no power supply. Some of their job cannot be carried or powered by the normal I pass my neighbor generator, but that is what they can afford. So can the state, Transco has excess power. All the generation companies, they will tell you there's excess power. And good a thing, the states have been given opportunity by act to license, to regulate, to generate, to distribute, to do everything. Then what is the government doing? In the prosperity of the people lies the prosperity of the government, of the elites. So we want to say we should have energy sufficiency. You could have clusters of places, perhaps the entire airport road or Efrun Wari. Just have the whole place. Let it be known across all and sundry that when you locate your business in that area, you have 2-4 power supply. It saves the big businessman generator cost and all of that, which can be plowed into other things. And the agro value chains. I isolated this in another slide to just emphasize. Agriculture remains the bedrock of any economy. Thank God for what is happening in the Silicon Valley, in the US, AI, and all of that, but we are not there yet. We must be true and real to ourselves. Ours is still hard work, and it must begin with agriculture. You must be able to feed yourself before you think of every one of these tech-driven this thing. So we want to say the agricultural value chain, you are either talking about cash crops or you are talking about food crops. Where does Delta have comparative advantage? Can the government say we want to identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cash crops and say every locality will begin to crop all of this? Then I have a last question for the government. These are just to prod our minds. Can the 25 LGAs, in partnership with the private sector, because government has no business in business, each build one strategic business cluster? Energy remains a major challenge in growing any economy. Nigeria today, if we get it right with energy, forget whatever the government is doing. Forget whatever they are taxing us or whatever money we think they are taking without accounting for. We will individually grow ourselves and grow the economy. So can government who wants to help say, for every one of the 25 local government areas, there is a particular locality, it may be a virgin land. You have all of the infrastructure in that place. And you say, okay, which are the businesses that can scale the most, that can employ the largest number of people, that have the hardest challenge? Could it be those who are into fashion? Could it be those who are making one thing or the other? When you isolate every one of them, cluster them in one place and ensure that they have all of these things, they will gladly pay you the monies. But at the end of the day, you have tax, you have all of that. People from other states, I remember when Benin, the Edo State government had what we call the Business Incubation Center. Somebody from here went there to set up a ice block making factory. And before you know it, he was doing yogurt in that place. He left Delta, was going and coming back on weekends. So when people in Lagos are people who have not been able to engage themselves very well, in any other place here that there's such a place in Delta, before you know it, you see productive minds gravitate to this place. I have food for thought for the businesses. Can every business begin to look at areas of shared costs and mutual support? I've always queried, why will every shop at the plaza we have on Deco Road have a generator? Can they all together say we want to have one plant and get people to meter each place? And at the end of the day, noise pollution is taken out. At the end of the day, there is enough power to carry your heavy machines. You pay as you use based on consumption. But when you get there, everyone is disturbing themselves with small, I pass my neighbor generator. Can the whole of Ibudu market say we want to have an independent power plant supplier? And as many who would hook on it, you pay this token and all of that, can the government come in also? Let businesses begin to think of what? Shared cost. I've always given the model of the Indians. When the Indians get to a place, they collocate their businesses. They are not brothers, they do not know themselves from anywhere. But all of them will even use one pool car. They are going to the market, everybody enters that car. They are from different business entities. That is all shared cost. At the end of the day, they have competitive advantage over the Nigerian businesses. we need to have a rethink in this direction. Can every business and businessman, contractors and vendors, especially the thriving ones, begin to look at scaling up on the value chain of their business and backward integration for the growth of the economy? I was discussing with Dr. Jonathan briefly, and he said he gives good support to Igbudu market, even at a concession that is below others. Those are the kind of reasoning I'm expecting for businesses that have been established and are thriving. Let's begin to look across our value chain. For example, we are restaurants today. Though we began as a farm, we are getting back to the farm. And we're also getting to say, every other product out of our place, can we begin to run the entire value chain? So let every one of us begin to look at that, and you will see a differentiation. Then lastly, and very importantly, why the government is expected to do also, we also must do. Can thriving businesses and successful businessmen seek out ways to primarily support sports talent and the creative industry? Mofe talked about this. Supporting sports talent. Victor Osimhen, for example, the Gala boy, right? He was a Gala boy. I don't know if we know that. His transfer fee alone was $85 million. When you convert that to Naira at 1,500, it's 127.5 billion Naira. If Victor Osimhen were from Delta State, there's no way, at least minimal, he would build a house, right? That's foreign direct remittance. So can the businesses, ditto the government, begin to look? In those days when we were growing up, I don't know what happened. I grew up in Ughelli, and almost every one of the business owners then, they had a football club. Can the government begin to encourage that? Even if it means incentivizing in one way or the other, tax cuts or whatever, such that the big businesses in the town can say, this is my basketball club, this is my football club, and every one of these. And very importantly, people may not understand what rave experience means for us. I know people travel into Delta State just to be a part of it, and they plan their holiday just to be a part of it. That is a great moment for the government to connect with her people and also to do all of this. The amounts they charge is not commensurate with the cost that is put into it. So businesses should come in, the government should come in. Now, what is our role as citizens? Because the government is made up of people from amongst us. The businesses are run by from amongst us. So can our youths choose never to be idle? Start from where they are and with what they have. This is a big challenge, especially many of those who have graduated from the schools today. We're looking at the tech job. Sometimes I wonder, so many people, you say this, I'm a content creator, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a that. Which content are you going to create, or which business are you going to create that content for? Let us first of all bed the hard businesses, do the hard work, so that our content will be meaningful. Can every citizen look inward, seek for the value they can add to businesses and the society, and by so doing increase their value? The UK, US, all of that will run to. When you get there, the first thing they tell you before you get a referral to even look for the job is you must volunteer. So some of us will volunteer 1-2 months before we ultimately get a job and move and move. But why don't we want to volunteer, even in church, even for anything in the society or for any business, and say, let me give this value, let me give this service for free, and thereafter grow from there. So these are all thought-provoking questions, highlighting the shared responsibilities of every one of us as stakeholders. Now I have a few suggestions to the government. Like the convener had said earlier, it is my opinion. So you are free to differ, but these are just my thoughts. Again, it is to provoke every one of us to think in likewise. I have isolated 3 things for the government to look at, and one is infrastructure and energy sufficiency. The government should look at establishing industrial parks. The truth is, if you have tried any venture before, to start is really difficult. When you weigh the cost, you may not even want to. Energy is one of those major costs. You will do your own borehole or water facility. You will do your own road. You will do everything. If the government can take some of this infrastructure from the businesses, it will help. Have industrial parks with reliable energy, water, ICT, and support infrastructure where comparative advantage is, and cluster manufacturing there. Identify commercial and industrial hubs within the state where the government can deliberately focus on achieving energy sufficiency. Again, I say this, if the government could, for example, say every business from roundabout stretching to MPA, stretching through the other Warri Sapele Road, on all sides of the road, let's create a special agency that will follow up, it will be very good. Such that when you know, even though your part of Delta State may be dark, may be something, but when you want to see certain kind of experience, you just go to this part of Delta State and you feel good, knowing that in no distant time, it will be replicated in other areas. So that is an expectation of what we think the government should do. Then human capital and skills for the future. No nation, no people can grow beyond the level of their education. It is all too important, Dr. Segun was mentioning, our education needs to be rejigged, needs to be retooled. And additionally, we should be looking at a skills academy. Too many of us, the certificate is no longer a meal ticket. I hope we all know. Today, I really don't value that certificate anymore. It's a case of what can you do, not when did you graduate or even what you graduated with. So we need to begin to skill up in the area of ICT, skill up in the area of the creative industry. There is too much happening there already. We have an age, I think largely it is because of today there are no parks. In those days, our neighborhood alone was recreation itself. But now we are packed in crowded cities and all of that. Almost everyone, and in the future too, we need a place to go and relax. Are you getting it? So because of that, it needs a creative mind to make life easy for people, to make it beautiful, exciting for people, and there are academies that could teach all of this. So we can partner with the universities and polytechnics. Delta State could be a first and begin to do industry-based R&D that is focused on our local produce. Talking about this, when I was growing up, like I mentioned, I grew up in Ughelli, and there's this groundnut they call Agwemuria groundnut. How many of us know it? Till tomorrow, it's not like it used to be. It's a groundnut that is well seasoned, low fire, as if you are roasting, preparing, what do you call this now? Suya. So that is how it is prepared. It is unique. I don't think there's any other part of this country that groundnut is. It used to be very, very okay. You could have up to 4 seedlings back then. I had it in mind long ago that I would love to can these groundnuts. But interestingly, because of insecurity and all manner, they don't do that farming like it was anymore. So there are many products that are unique to us. Is it the edible worm? Can somebody think about it differently? Or is it the cocoa gari? Can somebody think about it differently and begin to make flakes or something out of it? So these are areas the polytechnics and every one of us should look at. Just some days ago, somebody was saying that tiger nut, for example, somebody has been able to, or still working on it, a lady in Abia State, on how it can last longer. The shelf life is very short, but it's very nutritious. So we need to begin to think like that. Laser focus on selected sporting activities. This is really, these are easy wins. These are easy wins. Sporting activities does 2 things. 1, it keeps the youth who would have been restive, gone into insecurity, keeps them engaged. 2, out of them, you will surely see the multiplier effect when one of them is able to be signed off. It mustn't be football. There are too many sports. The German, I wonder, the people who win Olympics, I wonder if they will be able to defeat the ones that come from who from day one were put inside the water. Can the government begin to look at every one of this and say, no, for the next 4 years, we want to be able to raise internationally competitive sportsmen in the area of swimming. We want to be able to raise 50, 100, 1,000 persons who, when scouts are looking at coming to Nigeria, they come to Delta State and they say, because we have ready-made people here. These are deliberate efforts that when the government puts in place, it will benefit all. Victor Osimhen today is not just for his family, it's for a community. Is it not? So if you have many of such, just imagine the ripples. So I would want the government executive with us to please take this very seriously. It is an easy way, an easy win for us. You could galvanize the business sector, and together, let's begin to have a drive in this area. So that at the end of the day, we have the largest pool of sporting professionals. Then, lastly, on my postulations, agriculture and agro-industrialization. When you see my first slide there, I say Songhai Farms. I was one of those who was very excited when Songhai Farms, that was founded by Ibori, he went to Benin Republic, brought the Reverend Father and every one of them, and they did well in that place. Some few years back, I went there. It was a shadow of itself. And this is sadly the reason why government has no business being in business. However, they must create the enabling environment. Can we have Songhai Farms in at least 3 local government areas of every senatorial district? The beauty of it is that you have an integrated farming complex. And this time around, it has to be from farm produce to processing. And before you know it, we would export things and monies is coming to Delta State. The truth is that there are very many productive mines all over. They are just looking for the state, the location, the locality that has the most enabling environment. And when you do that, the economy of our state will surely be better. So the Songhai Farm project is something that I think should be revisited. Identify and initiate policies that support 3 to 5 cash crops. I'm very big on this. I did a little survey. And in my survey, I personally don't believe in building a house and renting. So for those of us who are complaining about house rents, you may need to have some good thinking. From my survey, what you would make from perhaps soursop, oil palm, on a plot of land that you put 50 by 100, right? You put your house and maybe 1 or 2 tenants are paying you. What you will make with that particular cash crop of 3, 4, or 5 years maturity is far more than the rent they will pay you. Fact inflation, as inflation is going, the returns is going to be more. So why spend so much, build a house, when you can actually get acres of land and put cash crops? But this is not to us, the individuals, but it is to the governments. We have the PIA bill. I understand it has been signed into law. I understand the communities are already enjoying it. Some people are fighting over it. Can every community, can every local government or ward designate hectares of land in every one of their places and say this one perhaps is for oil palm tree? They won't all die within the next 4 or 5 years. So you are sowing for your future. 4 or 5 years' time, those particular cash crops start getting fruits, and the returns, I can tell you, will be far more than what that PIA Act is giving you as oil rentals. That's for cash crops. We also have food crops. The truth is that there's money in agriculture, but it's challenging, it's difficult. The government must help. Mechanization. In the northern part of Nigeria, they are able to do so much of this because government is there for the clearing of the farm. Government is there for pesticide. Government is there for every form of industrialization and all. Then establish agro-processing zones to synergize the integration of farming, harvest, and processing of products. There are some beautiful clusters here just after the new university at Okpe. That entire stretch of road, both sides of it, is a poultry location in Warri. How many of us know that? But when you get there, everything has fallen because the government could not support them. And as I round up, I say governance, investment, climate, and SMEs, ease of doing business. This was mentioned also, too many rates. Even the chairman of Igbudu Market, whom I thought were the people, sir, I thought you were the people who are charging those monies. So now that you are crying, I know better. So it is the government. So we need to have a one-stop shop, investment center, and singularize these rates. The truth is that we are multiplying poverty. Those who are coming and saying that woman, who is perhaps their sister, their mother, or whatever, must pay that 1,000. When they get home, they will still want to eat good food from that same woman. So we are all multiplying poverty, continuing this in the name of revenue generation. So we must reduce multiple taxation, then access to credit, as has been said. And to every one of us, we must have a new culture of values and value creation. When we talk of hospitality, when we talk of tourism, you heard him say something. There is a Warri spirit that is in us that is good. There is the one that we must also moderate. So we must be a hospitable people, we must be friendly, and we must be clean. Then our shared commitment to the government is to deliver reforms and be accountable. To the business, we must keep breaking limits and adding value. To the citizen, play your part, not as critics only, but as value-adding co-creators. On this note, I want to appreciate everyone. Thank you for listening. God bless you.